Okay, so Don't Look Up. This is a comedy slash spoof, although I don't really want to label it as a spoof. I mean, the IMDb blurb for this is that two low-level astronomers must go on a giant meteor tour to warn mankind of an approaching comet that will destroy the Earth. But I feel like putting it in a better way, this is essentially Armageddon, but it was handled the same way that America handled COVID last year, which, being a fictitious comedic film, all of a sudden makes it this social commentary on America today. And it's not just America, that's not fair, it's on a lot of countries today. Which is why I don't really want to call it a spoof. We watch these two astronomers go to the president and warn her about this impending comet that's going to destroy the Earth, and she decides to do nothing about it because it's going to affect her ratings in the midterm polls. News outlets refuse to take it seriously and they're more worried about covering the latest celeb breakup because it's got better traction. And it's funny in regards where you get to see these really over-dramatized scenes of things you probably would expect to see in real life today. I mean, if you swapped the word comet for COVID or climate change, suddenly it's not a spoof and it actually becomes more of a biopic. And the execution of the humour in here is really great and it's done in a really funny way. However, it's muddied with this sense of scare and concern that this actually probably isn't something you should laugh at because it's happening today. This movie was actually conceptualized before the pandemic started, and apparently it was going to be based off the climate change issue instead. However, with the pandemic and everything that's happened over the last 18 months, suddenly this movie hits far closer to home than I think anyone wanted it to. And so I think people are going to take two sides to this film. Side A, you enjoy it for being uniquely funny and making light of things that you see in media today. Or you take it from side B where you feel like this movie's coming across as really preachy, telling you what's wrong with society today, and then you get PTSD from rethinking how many countries poorly manage world crises. And I don't know if the movie intended to be that heavy on the premise, but it certainly came across that way. On that basis alone, I don't think the idea sells that well, and to be honest, you're better off watching the mockumentary Death to 2020, which is on Netflix and is really great. But what brings this movie together is the really sharp way it tells its humour, as well as the incredible ensemble cast that tells the story. Leonardo DiCaprio and Jennifer Lawrence play our two astronomers who find the comet, and they essentially act as the audience throughout this entire movie. They are eyes and ears, and they react to the stupid, insane stuff that we would probably react to the same way in. Meryl Streep and Jonah Hill represent the incompetency in the White House with all the things that have gone on in the past. And I feel like a lot of people think Meryl Streep might as well just call herself Trump, but I feel like a lot of the things she does can probably apply to most presidents and world leaders anyway. And then you have Mark Rylance, who essentially represents the big corporation CEOs that run a lot of the things behind the scenes through money and wealth. Tyler Perry and Cate Blanchett represent the news outlet and how we perceive it today. And then you've also got sprinkles of Timothée Chalamet, Perlman and Ariana Grande in here. And it's directed by Adam McKay, who did Step Brothers, The Other Guys, The Big Short. And while he doesn't make anyone in particular a standout or insanely funny, the humour comes from more the scenes and scenarios that are being set up, all through premise and presentation. The humour comes from finding the small details in the scene, or from relating something that you find is actually quite ironic because it happens in real life. If I had to choose a standout, I'd say that Jennifer Lawrence probably stood out the most for me. I think she was actually really good in here. I say that as if that's a surprise. But I do think the last 30 minutes of this movie struggled quite a lot, actually. It almost felt like they just didn't really know how to end the ride we were on. But as far as recommending it goes, I wouldn't say go to cinemas to watch it at the moment. It comes out, I think, something like the 24th or something like that. I think if you go into it knowing what to expect, I think you can get some really good laughs out of this. But I can also see it not landing with a lot of people. For me, I got quite a lot of laughs of just seeing how bizarre it was. So yeah, there you have it. Don't Look Up. Maybe you've already seen it. If you have, let me know in the comments below what your thoughts on it were. If you liked this video, please feel free to leave a like and subscribe, it really helps out. And as always, stay tuned for more reviews on movies, anime and video games. Until next time guys, take care, bye bye.